What's the deal, everybody? It's your boy Shane G. We are back once again with Entreprenegros right here on the Ethos Media Network. Please make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe for all the latest content. Bar exam drops every Monday, OTI on Wednesdays, politics as usual on the weekends. But today, got a special guest with me in the building. We have an entrepreneur fresh out of Detroit, Michigan. You already know. This is my guy Charles McBride. How you doing, sir?
What up, though?
What up, though? You already know, man. So you are an entrepreneur, so I gotta talk to you. You know what I mean? We got to provide some inspiration for people out there who want to be entrepreneurs. You know what I'm saying? Especially young black men, and they don't necessarily know everything that can go into it. So I try to get as much information I can get out in these 6 questions. You know what I'm saying? So we got 6 questions for you. So the first thing is, what is the name of your company or companies, and what business and industry are you in?
Okay. So the business that I'm in is the film business. The company is Lab Secrets. It's actually more so started from the fact of I guess it's more about giving out the secrets to the independent film industry.
Okay. Okay. And when did you get started with that?
This is going on about a month, but I've been filming for like the last 7 years, so it's been actually a long time in the making.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. So when did you decide to go into business for yourself versus, working a regular job?
Um, wow. So this might take a little bit, but I'll give you a little context into my background.
No doubt.
Um, College first, business finance,
Where'd you go to
uh,
school?
UNT,
Okay,
Paul Quinn, down in Dallas, Texas.
for sure.
And so I wound up going into the industries of all industries, and it started with call centers, and I made my way around call centers working for various companies. I also say this: I'm 39 years old, so I'm gonna make y'all really seem old here in a minute, but there were some companies that's not around anymore that I was working for throughout these call centers in Dallas, and then eventually I moved back up to Detroit, and I got a job at Starbucks as a shift manager. Um, and it was a Magic Johnson Starbucks when that was the thing.
Okay.
Okay. So from there, got fired because I was doing the hookups. I'm just being honest with you.
Yep.
And then I went to work I was working at a nightclub at the same time. And then from nightclub, I went and worked at another little small coffee company. And so I was doing both of those, going back and forth. So Starbucks taught me the corporate structure. The call centers prior to that taught me the environment.
Okay.
And I guess it just wasn't me. So I moved back to Dallas and went to film school, got through half a semester, dropped out. And then I went and was like, I'm going to take this information and I'm going to move to LA. So then I moved to LA and I had been living there. I still live there. I'm just in Detroit filming at this very moment. During that time, I was working at restaurants. Restaurant was always my thing. It's easy money. It's kind of like being in the streets, supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
If any of our listeners know anything about that. And that was working for a company called Dart, and they own like Red Lobster, Yard House,
Okay, I
Olive
got you.
Garden, the whole 9 yards. So another corporate structure.
Yep.
COVID happened,
Mm.
and that's when things changed for me. And so what I did was I took that time and I bought a cinema camera, and I just dedicated that whole year that we were kind of like in lockdown in LA to learning how to work that camera. But also what I did was learn the independent film industry. And I mean, like it was like 8 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours a day, just learning. And to try and master that. So during that time, I knew that something was going to change because this gave me an opportunity. When they called me back to come back to work in the restaurants, and this is a normal LA thing to work in restaurants and work in film. It's how we eat and then till we make it. I told myself, man, yeah, absolutely. I told myself like, I'm never going back to that.
Okay.
So now we're about 2 years out of COVID, I do believe, coming up. Um, and I'm sticking to it. And so I just made sure that I wanted to make sure I put myself in a position to always work for myself. And so that started with now Ubering and food deliveries and the whole 9 yards, where I'll be able to dictate my schedule and I wouldn't have to adhere to when somebody says to clock in or clock out. Now it's kind of have to expand on that. And I've been, for the last 2 years, I've been coming back and forth to Detroit filming. And I mean, that's just been me for the last 2 years. And so that's pretty much what I do. And so that, and this, to wrap it all up, I'm like, man, how can I turn this into something that creates revenue overnight? And that was the idea of starting a podcast. And so people always came to me for consulting on film. And so I was like, you know what? Let me combine the two. Let me do consulting through podcasting and create the business that way. And here I am doing the podcasting, which will drop at the beginning of the year. And also, I just offer my services out to anybody who hires me to film them, screenwrite, anything and everything having to do with film.
And that's fire. That's fire. I love it. So I guess, I mean, you kind of answered it a little bit then, you know what I mean? But I'll still ask, do you feel like there was a moment where you felt like you knew what you were doing was working?
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody kept calling. One project turned into the next project, word of mouth, just doing a good job. And it just kept happening and kept happening, and to the point where I can't work a regular job because then it takes up my time. So that was the moment that I knew. But COVID really, if I could say anything, COVID taught me one thing: to like seek out information, because there was so much information going out, and it's even going on into the world. This is for your other show, the politics show. But there's so much information out there for us to learn. And that was an opportunity that I had to do. I had to make that move. And I mean, I'm seeing everybody else do it. I'm seeing influencers making 6 figures a year. I'm seeing platforms being able to task up where you can go and fix somebody's whatever shelf for however much money. There's so many opportunities for a person to make money on their own that, this was perfect for me.
That's tight. That's tight. So of course, with success comes ills. You know what I mean? So we all got to take them. You know what I'm saying? What was your biggest ill, and how did you bounce back from it?
My biggest L was actually getting in business with a friend of mine. And what happens is that you think you're on the same page, but sometimes it turns out that it's not on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an L, because it was an L and it was a lesson. It was a loss and it was a lesson. 2 L's, right? And so what I had to do is wind up regrouping. So from this, we got our LLCs. We started a business bank account. I mean, everything was moving to create a production company, and we were going to pump out films and content out the wazoo, out the ass. And we were just on 2 separate pages, and that happens. And I counted as a loss because I feel like it was time wasted, but I counted as a lesson because I learned that you have to vet the person that you are willing to work with. And see if you guys are really on the same page. And that person has to have an open mind. We both have to have an open mind. I'll give you a quick snippet of the type of person I am and the type of people that I fuck with. You have to have the 2 C's. There's 2 things I require out of you. 2 C's: cooperative and considerate. This individual was neither. And so therefore I can't fuck with you. When somebody comes and hires me, they're going to get the 2 C's. They're going to get cooperative and considerate. And that's what I just base everything on. I don't try and reinvent this wheel as far as dealing with people. If you have those 2 C's, then we good.
Yeah. And I definitely relate to that, because the person that, the president of this network, you know what I mean, is somebody who I grew up with in the later half of my teenage years and into adulthood. You know what I mean? Known this person for, let me see, I'm 20 years now. You know what I'm saying? So, but like you said, it could easily become an ego thing where it's like we the same age and we, you know, all of this. But at the end of the day, I'm humble and I can take direction and I can listen to what he's saying because I've already seen the success work when he puts his mind to certain things. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to business or when it comes to the entertainment industry, I've seen what he does works. So who am I to step in the way of what works? You want to bring me on to what is working, but allow me to flourish in my way because he saw what I was doing on my own podcasting for like 5 years before he even approached me. You know what I'm saying? We used to do music together back in the day. He was in the music industry. He knew I rapped, but he never hit me up about that. Not because I wasn't good, but because I wasn't putting my all into it before somebody reached out. But he saw that I was doing that with the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Putting out my own podcast, having different, you know, maybe I started off hosting with one person and then that didn't work out, but I kept doing it by myself. And then I found another person and then that worked. You know what I'm saying? And we kept going with it. Like he saw all of that and he was like, you took your podcasting way more serious than you ever did your music. And so that's why I'm hitting you up about this podcast thing now. You know, here we are almost a year later. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big part of it. You know, you have to know your role. You know, I know what I'm good at. I'm good at the actual podcast part. My part isn't necessarily the entertainment business side that comes with that, but that is his part. So I'm gonna listen to you when you know what I mean? So it's that. So I totally agree. You know what I mean? You have to be cooperative and you have to be considerate. That's definitely true. So aside from having people who are cooperative and not cordial, what was the word you just said? I'm sorry. Considerate. Thank you. Who or what else is needed to make your business successful?
Community. Community is the biggest thing. You have to know who your audience is, who your community is. Those are the people that we are, in a sense, catering to. Those are the people that matter. Those are the people that's going to tune in. Those are the people that's going to listen. I mean, I can't stress it enough. And I think all these go hand in hand, the cooperativeness and the considerativeness of the community, right? They're going to come to you and they're going to ask things of you and they're going to demand things of you that you might not think are a problem, or they're going to critique you that you might not think is a problem. But everybody is here to really make everything better, right? The bad comments are to make you better. The good comments are to inspire you, so it makes you better. So, I mean, that's who I do it for. I do it for my community, especially in the film world, the independent film world, which is one of the biggest reasons I started the podcast in the first place. Is being in Detroit, and I know everybody's seen them. You know, Tubi movies are wild. They're alive, right? So they needed someone who was working, who can bring some experience from Hollywood, for working on sets and working with people in LA. Maybe not even just Hollywood sets in LA, but working on sets in LA,
but
where
in that,
there's
like, environment though.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we can bring that structure here to Detroit, and then so we can make the movies so much better. So then the world can look at the movies and say, hey man, they got it popping in Detroit. So let's go get it. You know, let's go fool with them. Let's go see Charles. Let's go see, you know, some of these other I don't want to name drop them, but you know, some of these other people who push out movies in Detroit and say, hey man, we can give them $1 million and they can make their film. So that's the importance of it, that, you know, that I bring a perspective to my community, and so they can make their projects better. Because if one win, we all win. And I know it's cliche, but that's just the truth, man. We all win. We get a hot filmmaker out of Detroit, then they make the next, you know, Walking Dead or Harry Potter or Belly Juice, for that matter, right? Because that's our content lane. They're going to look at the other filmmakers from Detroit and they might be able to give them a chance as well.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more. So my last question for you is, you know, what do you want the people to check out right now? Like, what's out right now that you want the people to check out, and what do you have coming up that the people can expect?
So right now I have a series on Instagram called Confessions. You can find it at confessions.series on Instagram. What I did was, a group of us in LA, we took a script and we wanted to make a social media series, right? Because that's where I felt people were going for their content. We scroll all day, but we don't want to sit there and watch a 2-hour movie. So I took it to them on social media. So I would love for people to check that out again. That's confessions.series on IG and on TikTok. The next movie is called, that's coming out. It'll be coming out the beginning of the year. It's called City God Forgot. I wrote that. And it's starring my man Young Ra.
Shout out Young Ra.
Yep, that's my guy. It's starring Jamal Woodler from Notorious B.I.G. and I'm pretty sure they seen him on tons of Tubi movies. Trey Chaney from The Wire, J.D. Williams from The Wire. We got Marquise Moore from Sinner and Saint. We got Freeway Rick Ross, the real Freeway Rick Ross.
Right, the real Rick Ross.
Man, the real one, man. With no beef with the rapper. I just wanted to make sure because I don't want them to come at me. But and a host of other people, man, that just made this film such a success. And I guess the moral of the story is God didn't forget about us. We forgot about him. So it's a fantastic movie, shot super sci-fi, mad colors. I mean, we put the works in it because we wanted to give the people something different than what they have been seeing already. That's a big program coming up, a big movie. I also got a series called Shots that will be coming out in the beginning of the year. That's created by my man Herb Bellamy, and my executive producer Shan, and we doing some great things with that. Got a really good storyline involving teens that would get life in prison. That's the basis of the story and the generation cycle that comes from that. And I got another series that'll be coming out next year as well. And that's the Mysteries of Sex series that I'm directing. And that's starring, that's what the executive producer Love Mayette.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Ra for show. You know what I'm saying? And for all of y'all who missed our interview with Young Ra, go check that out. That was on Bar Exam. You know what I mean? Just go check out the Bar Exam playlist. Check out the interview with Young Ra. Yeah, man. I got to interview this Shan guy. He seems dope, you know what I'm saying? I keep hearing his name. Guy. You know what I mean? I gotta.
That's my guy. Yup.
Can't wait to interview that guy. You know what I'm saying?
That's my guy. Yup. And let me make a correction too, because I speak so fast. Sometimes I forget things. I co-wrote the movie City God Forgot with Young Ra. So he was part writer, part creator. Me and him both worked together to create a fabulous project, which that same Shan guy, he's a producer on that movie.
Yeah, I heard that.
Man, he just in the game. Man. Yeah,
he in the game. Don't nobody, you know what I mean? We got to figure out who this guy is. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Shout out Shan, man. We love you, dog.
Absolutely.
But so I appreciate you, man, for stopping by and taking the time to explain, your journey and providing some inspiration, like I said, man, to somebody else who wants to pick up a camera, but they don't necessarily know the first steps. I think the first step is pick up the camera.
Pick up the camera, do something. And before I want to say one last thing too, like, please, man, especially people who look like us or people and people in general, be seekers of information. I don't take it biblical. I'm not a super holy roller or anything of that nature, but it's a scripture that says our people will perish from lack of information, right? And it's not that we don't have access to it. It's because we don't go out and seek it out. There's a ton of information to enhance whatever skill, whatever hobby that you want to do, that you can turn it into a successful business or something that at least that you can be able to break the generational cycle for the next generation to look at and say, hey, they did it, so I can do it too. But be seekers of information. There's so much information that you get. We spend a lot of time scrolling social media, so you can spend as much time Googling whatever that you want to do.
Absolutely. Don't let a what if stop you.
Man,
I'm
trying to tell you.
Don't let a what if stop you. We was just me and to close out on that point for sure. Me and Prez, we was having a conversation about that same thing, and he was saying, a lot of times people won't take that first step. You might say, yo, there's a trade school, in Detroit, and what I'm saying, it's got the thing that you trying to do, and the first thing that the person says to you is, I ain't got no car, how I'm gonna get there? They not asking where is it at. It might be around the corner from you. You know what I'm saying? You're not asking the right questions. So don't let a what if stop you. Don't let your current circumstances or bad luck in the past, anything like that, stop you. You know what I'm saying? Because the Shane guy that we're talking about, he's not letting nothing stop him. You know, I'm not going to say what he's going through necessarily, but just know a lot of people would let tough circumstances that like he's going through stop him, and he's not. So
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely. Find some inspiration. He's an inspiration for me. He is really an inspiration for me, and he, along with other inspirations, like people like yourself too. You know, I see you doing it. I'm gonna do it too. I'm like, that's what's up. Let's get it and find inspiration. Don't let nothing stop you. You said it perfectly.
And then we're going to wrap like that, man. This is Shane G. This is Charles McBride. Where can they follow you on social media, Charles?
So, you know, I like to live underneath the radar, but it's Winston.mcb on Instagram. Winston.mcb on Instagram. And you can keep up with the projects that I'm doing. And, you know, you can reach out if you have any questions about film or anything of that nature. I'm always willing to answer.
That's what it is, man. This is Shane G. This is Charles McBride. This is Entreprenegros right here on the Ethos Media Network. Once again, please make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.